Hey, Phyllis, I'm happy
Hey,
to
Phyllis,
see
I'm happy
you.
to see you.
Hi, Lynn.
I went to
I went.
Oops, why am I
Oops, why am I echo?
Why is that happening?
Why is that happening?
Is it echoing for you?
Is it echoing for you?
No.
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 Son of a gun.
Gun.
It is for me.
It is for me.
It is for me
It
too.
is for me too.
Okay.
Okay.
Evelyn,
I'm
can you
going to back
help us
out and come back in.
Come back in.
Yeah, so I think it would be
So I think it would be helpful.
go out and come back in?
Come back in.
Sure.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
if everyone were to go on. Phyllis, I think you're fine.
Okay.
Okay, hopefully this is better.
Hopefully this is better.
Okay, is that any better?
Okay, is that any better?
No.
No.
What is the deal?
What is the
So I think the issue
issue
let's see.
What's that, Evelyn? What
What's
should
that,
I do?
I think the issue is if everyone is unmuted, there's usually an echo. So the person who's speaking is unmuted.
Not like this.
Not like this.
Okay.
I'm happy to try to go back.
To try to go back in.
We didn't have this
We
last.
didn't have this last.
I just added another Zoom.
That'd be.
No.
Philip, can you try talking one more? Sorry, Lynn, can you try talking one more time?
Sure, not a problem. Okay, now that's not echoing to me. Is it echoing to you guys?
No, it wasn't echoing. It's because I
I
muted other people. So only the person who's speaking should be unmuted, and that'll help with the echoing.
Okay, thank you. All right, that was educational just in that moment. So we've got Liz here, we've got Mike here. Folks, this is our new friend Evelyn, who's going to be our tour guide tonight with all things AV, electronic, and microphone and video. Who else do we have here? I was expecting a little bit bigger turnout. While we're waiting, Phyllis, I know you're muted, but I did want to tell you about an amazing executive coaching webinar I went to this morning for understanding bias. And the 4 presenters were all lovely, lovely African-American women. And I thought you should have been right in there with them. It was very insightful. It was very helpful. And I certainly hope the rest of the world can kind of catch on a little bit better too. So anyway, and Evelyn, you would have enjoyed it also.
What was it called?
It was the World Business Executive Coaching Summit, WBEX. That's one of our, I'm an executive coach. That's one of our professional organizations. And these ladies just did a wonderful, wonderful job tonight. Some of them had been newscasters for NBC and so forth in the past, and really had a nice, really positive and insightful presence for a lot of different things. So.
Great, thank you.
All right, so let me say hi to Mike, and then Liz is here. And is that it? Is that all we have? Evelyn, is that all we have?
Yeah, so it says Elizabeth, Lynn, Mike, and Phyllis are the only people signed on right now.
Oh, that is not a quorum.
Nope, no quorum.
Well, here's what I'm inclined to do, because we could have a mini meeting. And because last time we discussed a lot of issues and put some ideas in place, I come to you tonight with 2 key thoughts. I've sent out to you all very late. I apologize. It didn't come through until 3:30 this afternoon. I was hoping Pam Gardner could be here with us now. Channel 16 has offered to tape us in their studio and do so with COVID restrictions. So if anybody else is nearby, there'd be that 6-foot distance. And then as they would tape it, it would create a video document that could be replayed in the county later on. Okay. So that is why you have a draft outline here. And I'm sorry the word draft is not on it. I just got this from Pam this afternoon. So I need to have you take a look at it. My concern is, in terms of content, we can certainly play around with that a bit. They're offering us to basically film the whole day at one time. Our preference, as you recall, is to have just 2 sessions on Saturday and 1 session on Sunday. Now, they could do that, but they can't come back on Sunday to do the filming. So I need some guidance from you guys in terms of what seems to make sense here. Do we just amplify, both sections and do a larger segment in the morning and a larger segment in the afternoon and sort of be done with it? That's one option. The other one is to simply go back to WebEx, and Evelyn can probably give us some thoughts on how to make some of this magic come alive with all these people, and if we have to do PowerPoints and that kind of thing. So Evelyn, I'll be leaning into you here in just a minute. The other piece that we need to talk about, I've got at least one of our commissioners wonders if we could change the title of the conference, and I'm certainly open to that. So those are our 2 big issues tonight. I'm going to mute myself, and whoever would like to speak first. Oh, you know what? I didn't do the intro. Oh, I was supposed to do the intro. Hang on.
Lynn, I don't
Looks
think you
like
need to do
someone's
the intro
called in
because we're
too.
not having an official meeting.
Okay, but let me at least print mine out. So
Now, are you talking the COVID intro?
yes. Yeah, I'm supposed to say
Yeah.
that, and I did not say that. So let me just see if I can print it out. And because Evelyn sent it to me today very dutifully. She sent it to me actually twice. So today and there we go.
Yeah, we don't need to worry about that until we're in an official meeting.
Right, but I still, okay, I'm good on that.
And Evelyn, are we on solid grounds on actually talking about any of this?
That's a good
Without a
question.
quorum?
Thank you.
That I'm not sure. That's more of a question for Denise. I don't know how many people you need for quorum, or what the guidelines are, but
Well, it's at least half. We have 10 on this committee now. We've lost a couple people. There's Liz, and Liz is with us. And so if we get 5.5 people, we could move forward.
When there's somebody with a 703-321 phone number who's called in, is that Mary Lipsy?
It could be
is-
Mary Lipsy, because I just saw a little flare that said Mary Lipsy. I'm gonna
that's Chris. Chris, can you try speaking and see if that worked?
This is Mary Lipsy, but I can't get in.
You're on phone, right?
Are you talking to Mary?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, Mary. You're on
Yeah,
on audio?
I'm trying to sign in, and it keeps asking me for a password, which I don't have.
So you might want to try refreshing, because there isn't a password to get into it.
Well, I tried retrying, but I'll try again. Okay.
Yeah, and Esther has the same question. Esther's just texted me. How can I do this?
Yeah, it's keep asking me for a password.
Now, Mary, are you coming in on the email that I
I'm
sent?
on my landline at home.
Oh, so you're not on your computer. Okay.
Yeah, I believe
Well,
if
no,
you're
I'm
on, I'm sorry, if you're on a
looking at
landline,
my computer.
if you're on a landline or a phone, I think you can only be as an attendee.
I know. I have WebEx and I downloaded it, but it's asking me for a password.
Let me try sending you the link for panelist. That might work better. So I'll email that to you right now.
Okay.
And Esther needs the same thing. Esther can't get into the meeting either, Evelyn.
I'll go ahead and email her as well.
Yeah, do. That'd be a good idea. Evelyn, there is a panelist numeric password that's 109495. Would that be it?
They could try that. I made it to where they didn't need a password, but they could definitely try inserting that if they need it. So I'll include that in the email.
Okay. Thank the rest of you for your patience.
Okay, here I am. Oh, God.
And Cheryl Repetty's on too.
Oh, okay. So we're almost there, I think. There you are, Mary. I can see you now.
Yeah, just got out of the shower.
Me too. But I did a Bull Run Roundtable mini piece before I got on here, and then I've got a suffragist thing after we're done. It's gonna be a long night on soon. Okay, so we've got Mike, we've got Cheryl, we've got Mary, we've got Elizabeth, we've got me. And Esther when Esther joins us, we will have a quorum. Cheryl, can you hear me? Can you hear?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Sorry, it took me a while to find the correct invitation. Apparently you can't forward them.
Really? Because I used mine.
Oh, yeah?
And maybe it was mine. Maybe it was because it was mine, but that's how I got in. I didn't want to scroll through all my others.
Yeah,
You know,
but,
stats.
no.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys.
Oh, yeah.
But that makes sense that you can't. That's a security protection, I guess.
Lynn, I got in using your forwarded invitation.
Did you? Okay. And we have Jordan now. All right. So
Yeah, I had trouble getting in because I used your invitation too, but it didn't work.
Isn't that funny? It did for some and not for others. Okay, so we're still.
Worked for me, Jordan. Nah.
All right, Mike. Okay.
Oh, Mike, you know why? Because it knows you're not a commissioner anymore.
Bingo.
I feel terrible. I've got to leave a little early. I kind of double booked tonight. I've got a museum program I have to get in on. So
Yeah, I do too. Oh, the one in New York? You're going to do the
Yeah.
one in New York? I am too. I'm going to try to do
really?
that too.
Okay.
The behind the
Okay,
scenes? The behind the
Yep.
scenes one?
But I have to jump off a little bit earlier.
Okay, well, I do too. I do too, like out of here. Okay, so our two topics to discuss
Yes.
tonight.
Yes.
Well, I'll plug those for a minute, and then we'll wait and see if we get Esther, and then we're going to be good to go. Wait, Evelyn, how many folks do we have right now, please?
I believe there's 7.
Oh, okay. Good. We're ready to go. And Esther will catch up with us shortly. All right, so I need to do this intro since we have enough here. To conduct this meeting wholly electronically and to effectuate both the emergency procedures authorized by FOIA and the emergency ordinance, this board needs to make certain findings and determinations for the record. It's a bit cumbersome, so I ask you in advance for your patience. First, because each member of the board is participating in this meeting from a separate location, we must verify that a quorum of members is participating, that each member's voice is clear, audible, and at an appropriate volume for all the other members. Accordingly, I'm going to conduct a roll call and ask each board member participating in this meeting to state your name and the location from which you're participating. I ask that each of you pay close attention and ensure that you can hear each of your colleagues. Following this roll call, we'll vote to establish that every member can hear every other member. All right, so I'll begin with myself, Lynn Garvey Hodge, Fairfax County. Esther is with us now. All right, fantastic. Esther, we're doing a check-in. All right, as I call your name, unmute and tell us where you are. I'm going to go by the pictures I see on the screen.
Michael Irwin, Fairfax.
Okay, and Mike is now a non-voting member of the committee, but he's a member of the committee. Cheryl?
Cheryl Rapetti, Sully District, Centerville.
Okay. Esther?
Esther?
Okay, I'll come back to Esther.
Okay, I'll come back to Esther.
Phyllis?
Phyllis?
Unmute. Okay, we still can't hear you.
I have nothing else.
There you go.
Still can't hear
I think we heard you.
You now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Phyllis Ford, Clifton, Virginia.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Esther?
Okay. Esther?
Am I coming
Am I
through?
coming through?
Yes.
There's a little
Yes.
bit of
Esther McCullough,
Esther McCullough,
Sully, Herndon, Virginia.
Herndon, Virginia.
Okay, wonderful. After you say your name, go ahead and mute, okay? Because then that's causing the feedback. We learned that a little while ago. All right, and then Jordan, I think you are our. No.
Jordan Tenenbaum, yes, North Hill, Fairfax County.
Okay, wonderful. And Liz, are you still here with us?
I'm still here. Liz Crowell, City of Alexandria, Virginia.
Wonderful. Okay. Has anybody not stated their name?
Mary Lipsy,
Mary, I can't see your picture, so I'm sorry. That was my fault. Go ahead. And your location, Mary?
Springfield.
Perfect. Okay. Is that it, Evelyn? Did I catch everybody?
I believe.
Okay. All right. Thank you all for your patience with that. At this point, I'll pass the virtual gavel to the vice chair so I may be heard to make the requisite motion. I move that each member's voice may be adequately heard by each other member of this board. Anybody want to second that?
30 seconds.
A second. I think Cheryl got it first.
Is there a faster on the space bar?
Yes, it
Quick
is.
draw. Quick draw, Cheryl. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so there are a few more words I need to go over. Second, having established each member's voice may be heard by every other member, we must establish the nature of the emergency that compels this emergency procedures, the fact that we are meeting electronically, what type of electronic communication is being used, and how we've arranged for public access to this meeting. Therefore, I move that the state of emergency caused by COVID-19 pandemic make it unsafe for this board to physically assemble and unsafe for the public to physically attend any such meeting, and that as such, FOIA's usual procedures which require the physical assembly of this board in the physical presence of the public cannot be implemented safely or practically. I further move that this board may conduct this meeting electronically through a dedicated phone line, and the public may access this meeting by calling a phone number as it was listed. It is so moved. Second.
Second, Jordan.
Oh, I didn't ask for votes here. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We need to dispense with FOIA's usual procedures to assure continuity in government and to continue our operations. Finally, it's next required all the matters addressed on today's agenda must address the state of emergency itself, are necessary for continuity in Fairfax County government, and or are statutorily required or necessary to continue operations in the discharge of this board's lawful purposes, duties, and responsibilities. It is so moved. One more.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Perfect. This notice must be provided contemporaneously with the notice provided to the board members. Also make sure that meeting materials are available to members. And I just got them at the last minute tonight, so I think you all have that. All right. Some of you that were on here a little bit earlier, two things we do need to accomplish tonight. One is to really make a strong decision about whether or not we want to use Channel 16. Did everybody get the very lately sent email from Pam Gardner? I don't think I sent it out to you until almost 5:30.
I got it. Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah.
Anybody not? Cheryl got it? Looks like everybody's got it. Okay. So we've got that to discuss. And the other thing is to take a look at, Esther had given us some suggestions for a different title for our conference. So I do want to circle back and make sure we spend some time on that. Okay. Let me go over what Pam sent, where it came from, so you better understand the document that you have before you. Channel 16, after Pam being in a conversation with Denise, offered up the opportunity for us to be videotaped in the studio. So there's a lot of advantages to that. One is everybody knows where they've got to go. We don't have the whole check-in electronic thing going at the same time. We'll just pass off the baton very similarly to how we would do during the actual conference. What Pam is suggesting is that we take the studio for one full day. Each segment, each of the three segments, filmed separately with a bit of a break in between. And then based on some things she and I talk about, she kind of picked and chose. In fact, there's pieces that are kind of missing here, but think of this outline as being a draft. So Mary, maybe we won't do you at the end. Maybe we'll do you in the second piece, however that might best work out. This is our dilemma. Do we do a WebEx virtual conference, or do we work with Channel 16? I'm going to mute myself now. Think about questions you want to ask me, and then let's have some thoughts about next steps. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to throw in my 2 cents here. This is Liz.
Yes.
I'm wondering if we might want to do this with Channel 16, but have them film it ahead of time rather than having it live.
Help me understand your thinking on that.
I just was thinking that way. Sometimes presentations will be made like that. And when they're done ahead of time, if there are issues with it, they can be edited or whatever. And so, and that would, then it could be broken up in different ways if you want to have it over, different days or whatever.
Okay, so that's an opportunity. The thing we are sort of stuck with though now is the date. She's got it down. She's taken it back to her team. The presenters, even those that we're not 100% sure of, have this date in place. So do know that. Okay, so any other thoughts here?
Yeah, well, I think Liz brings up a good point, but if you do it in advance, then these people are going to have to come in for another date, And that may be a problem managing all those. I guess that's what you're referring to. I think that, Liz, I think it's a good idea, but I just
Yes.
think that's the problem.
So when you say, just to clarify for sure, when you say channel 16, you're talking about a broadcast over television versus a WebEx. That's the choice you're presenting with?
That is accurate. That is accurate. So, you know, I mean, there's some other little, I've actually come to enjoy and like Zoom and WebEx because of the chat box function, because you can have a PowerPoint on the screen instead of your face. There are some advantages to that. So
Lynn, it's free. Is this a free thing, or will we have to pay for this studio time?
it's my understanding that this is free.
Great.
This is Esther. Let me understand. If we do this with channel 16, we go into the studio live. Is that right?
Correct.
So our presenters would have to be there live.
Correct. And COVID rules, social distancing, masked until time to speak would all be adhered to. Some of you may have seen Susan Gray's live stream last Sunday, and the presenter and both Susan had masks on until the presenter began to speak, and they stayed distanced. And apparently there was an audience of about 5 or 6. So we're not inviting audience members in.
However, that might present some reluctance on the part of presenters.
Say more about that.
Participate.
Say more about that. What would be cause reluctance? And try.
Because we're still in COVID-19 and we don't know when it will subside. That might present problems as far as getting people to offer their services, to commit ahead of time.
I will tell you this, Esther, I appreciate your concerns because I have lots of COVID concerns for obvious reasons. Channel 16 cannot function unless they adhere to all the COVID requirements. So one of the things we would have to do is reassure the presenters that there'll be maybe 2 or 3 people in the room. They will all be socially distanced. Things will get cleaned throughout the day. That kind of reassurances would be incumbent on us. But good question.
Yeah, Lynn, I think this makes sense because also there, you know, that you run into, look at the problems we had this evening getting everybody on. It took about 20 minutes. These folks are, you know, that's what they do. They're there to help. They're located at the government center. Is that correct? For their studio? Yeah. I think it makes sense to go with the
Channel 16.
Channel 16. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Phyllis.
All right. I think Phyllis.
Thanks, Jordan.
Thanks, Jordan.
I think going with channel 16 is the better idea because it will be spread out. So nobody's close together, right? And you could actually schedule a time for each speaker to come in.
Thanks, Phyllis.
Thanks, Phyllis.
Somebody's on. Phyllis, if you're still on, could you maybe mute so I can respond to what you said?
I'm muted.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you.
I think I tend to agree. And having been at Channel 16 and been filmed over there in a number of videos, it's a large enough space that even with the camera people, you are often a good 10 feet away. So, and especially if we time it so that, you know, if Phyllis, you're going to speak and then somebody else comes on, there are no more than so many people in the room at the same time. But I'm going to also lean into them to make sure that all of those standards are adhered to, and they have promised that. So anyway. Does that help? Anybody else?
Channel 16 would also, you wouldn't have to worry about registrations. I mean, I suppose you could do WebEx without registrations also, because people can, the public can participate in these meetings that we're having, so that then, because through the website, but Channel 16, they just have to turn on their TV.
Exactly. With a WebEx, and certainly I know with Zoom, you're only allowed so many attendees. So with this live stream, it could be hooked up anywhere in the country, and we wouldn't have a sense of limitation for attendees in terms of numbers. All right. Other thoughts here, guys?
Would they record it so that you could then broadcast it in pieces, like posted on YouTube or something like that?
Yes, and they are also offering to put it on Facebook. And then being able to record it will be very similar to, remember all the little videos we did for the 275th? A long time after, they'll all be accessible online. And so that had a lot of appeal, you know. I thought, rather than just doing it and maybe losing it. Although all I know, our evening tonight is being taped too, and that's pretty standard.
They also probably have all of the ADA requirements down.
Correct. All right. I think the last thing I want to say is just know this was kind of what Pam's take was on our conversation. Do not, and her outline today, this is not for public dissemination at this point in time. We'll need to do some tightening up as to who's doing what and where and for how long. But making this decision about Channel 16 was one of the most important pieces of our work together tonight. Any other thoughts about?
Yeah, just one question, Lynn.
Yes.
I'm wondering, with Channel 16, how would we handle questions to the presenters?
That was one of my questions I had for Pam, and she said that they could offer a telephone number for us to use during the day if people actually wanted to call in and ask a question. Because quite frankly, I like the chat box function. I think it's great that you can be a presenter and then go back through and pick out some questions. I'm doing something like this next week, but that is how they would accommodate that.
Okay, good, because I get cold sweats about thinking trying to do this as a WebEx, given the problems we've had just getting a small group on.
Correct. Yeah, I agree. So I would see our next meeting, we'll drill down and talk a little bit more about the breakdown we have here. In the meantime, and we have a nice, lovely piece here that Mary has offered to do with Mary. She may have just cobbled together some of my suggested words in the conversation. I don't think that's quite what because you talked about Native Americans and Asian suffragists. I think Mary's topic listed here is not quite accurate. Mary, is that not correct?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, here I am, right? I don't know if anybody can hear me.
Yes, I can.
Okay, all right. What I was hoping to do is to present both sides of the issue on suffrage through political cartoons, which are hundreds of them, and also pictures of the silent sentinels in front of the White House, the suffrage wagon, etc. Just to expose people visually to what was going on about the whole issue of suffrage. can't hear Lynn.
I suggested maybe it makes more sense for you to be part of the first session then. So-
It doesn't bother me, whatever.
Well, I think there should be some kind of chronology, some kind of focus so that each section as a standalone makes some sense.
Well, this evening I was also thinking about the faces of suffrage, because maybe nobody's ever seen a picture of Susan B. Anthony and all the ladies. So just a brief, interview of the leaders through the years, just
Sure.
so as people are addressing them throughout the day, they can visually say, oh, I remember Alice Paul, or what Susan B. Anthony looked like.
Now you can hear me?
Yes.
I think that's a great idea. I also think some of those visuals, Mary, would be fantastic when we get ready to put our little brochure together, if you will, when we get ready to advertise. Because yes, you're correct. Some of those cartoons are just beautifully done. The artwork is nice. The coloring is great. And they're pictures a lot of people haven't seen before.
Right.
And I like your idea of a picture of Susan B. Anthony. What did she look like? What did Lucretia Mott look like? Some of those early leaders too. Well, Alice Paul, I think a lot of folks now know, but still. Carrie Chapman Catt is another person. Mary Church Terrell.
Well, I wrote about a Native American and a Chinese American who were suffragists, and neither one of them got the right to vote in 1920.
Okay, all right. So I think that's good.
I think that's important to stress, because it wasn't until 1924 Native Americans were actually identified as citizens, but that didn't mean each state gave them the right to vote. The last
Right.
state was 1964. And then the Chinese American, she did not get the right to vote. We don't know if she actually did vote until 1943, when they eliminated the Chinese Exclusion Act.
Okay.
So there are two examples of women who fought for suffrage and marched for suffrage, and neither one of them got the right to vote in 1920.
And we're not honored. Okay. And I think that kind of quick attention grabbing kind of trivia is wonderful at the front end of an event like this, because it begins to pique people's interest. So, all right. So here's what would be helpful right now is take a look at this very rough outline. Pick it apart. What did we miss? What else do we need to put in? What order should it be? Do the people we have on here even need to be?
Lynn,
Yes.
this is Esther.
Yes.
On that Delta Sigma Theta, I had suggested contacting the headquarters office, because we in the local chapter cannot speak for the sorority itself. Those contacts have to come from the headquarters. And I see you have a president of, I guess, a local chapter. I don't know this person.
Cipriana, yeah.
Is she the Fairfax chapter?
She's the president of the Reston Dulles Delta. Oh, this is wrong.
No.
This isn't even right. No, this isn't even her correct title. No, she's that's not her correct title.
Okay, well, we'll
yeah.
solve that, but I'm reluctant to speak for the sorority, because we have that specifically spelled out that you have to contact headquarters.
I think we can assume to go ahead and contact headquarters. I think that idea makes sense. Where does the Delta Sigma Theta lady live? Do you know?
She's in the Maryland area, I believe.
Oh, she is. Okay, so she's not far.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so yeah, those information got crisscrossed is what happened.
Is that another group?
Cipriana wanted to talk about, she actually got an award this year from the county for a as a pioneering woman. This happened in Women's History Month in March. And what is the name of the group? It's a National Colored People. If
The
you look
Girl
at Channel,
Council of Women.
it could be.
I'll wait until you tell me who she is, but she's not Delta Sigma Theta, I don't
No,
believe.
she is not. She's not. That's
Okay.
what I'm saying. This draft of content is not where we need to be. Okay.
Okay, so let's just put president from Delta Sigma Theta.
Yeah, hang on a second. If you look at your last email I sent out with all the information on it, I believe her title there is correct. So go back to that and we can use that. And I'll this whole thing needs to get cleaned
Okay.
up. So let me work on that, and then I can do that later. All right.
Okay, there were other marchers, African American women and minorities that were not specifically in Delta, I believe. So she could possibly speak on that, but we'll work that out.
I think she wanted to hit some of the biggies like Mary Church Terrell, and she had
Well,
about 3 or
but
4.
see, they're members.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
See,
Oh,
she
see
would
again, that's
duplicate.
content we'd have to talk to
Okay.
the Delta lady about, and then Cipriana, we'd have to give her some guidance. So
Okay,
we're
I'll
not,
work
we're
with
not
you
quite
on that.
Okay, I would love that. I would love that. That'd be fantastic. All right, so we're good to go with channel 16. I can get back to Pam with that. This is only a very rough draft right now. My next question then is, what about the title? And I know you had some ideas, Esther, here. So do you have those accessible right now? Your other suggestions? Okay, you're still muted.
No, I do not have those before me. I'm sorry. And I'm afraid to go over to email. I might lose the WebEx.
Okay, Cipriana's title is President of the Reston Dulles National Council of Negro Women.
Yes.
Okay, so we know that now. That's her actual title. And I do not have answers back from Denise on those other questions that we had at our last meeting that are on the bottom of that last email that I sent you all. I know Mary had copyright questions. I found a wonderful article about fair use of copyright, but I don't know if the county abides by that or not. So we've got some loose ends there. Esther, how about this, just to keep this focused tonight and to maybe give everybody a gift of time by not making this meeting too long. When you are able to put your hands on some of your other suggestions, can you forward those to me and anybody else that has other suggestions for the actual title of this series?
Yes.
Just forward them on to me, and then I'll cobble all this together and send it back out to you so we don't have a lot of FOIA issues. All right. And Cheryl did some really nice work in terms of some of the copyright information, and I think you all should have copies of that too. So anyway. All right, those were my 2 biggies for tonight. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about?
Do we need to make a motion for this to go forward?
With channel 16, yes, I believe we do. So do you want to make the motion, Esther?
I move that we do our history conference with channel 16 on, what was that date?
November 14th.
November 14th.
Mhm.
And Okay, I better stop there.
Yes. Yeah, well, you know what? I'm sorry. Maybe we should amplify it a little bit. Our original idea was to do 2 sessions on Saturday and 1 session on Sunday.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to abridge that commitment because we haven't had a full discussion about that. So do you want to?
Did Pam present just doing the one day?
Yeah, she said that's as long as we could get the studio. That's why this got kind of recobbled. She took my outline and played around with it and what she.
Okay, then I'll restate my motion. I move that we do the History Conference 2020 with Channel 16 on November 14th
In their studios.
in their studios.
I second.
Okay, perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, wonderful. All right, so we're good on that. I can report to the commission back on that in a couple of weeks. I'd like to take a look at calendars to determine when we can get together and chat next. Let's see here. If we tried to meet for a short meeting on the 27th to clarify some information, the reason I'm picking that is so we can be ready for our commission meeting, which then would be Wednesday, the 2nd of September. And any thoughts on that?
27th, you said, Lynn? 27th,
Correct.
yeah, that's fine.
It's great.
Everybody okay with that? Cheryl, you're okay with that?
Sorry, that sounds fine.
Okay, and nobody has a problem with that date then? Okay,
Nope.
so Evelyn will need to figure out how to orchestrate again this setup. Will we get you again? I hope so.
I'm not sure, but I will see if I'm available. Whatever
Okay,
date. Yeah.
all right. Tell them we vote for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lynn, I'm dropping off now, guys. Gotta leave.
Okay, Jordan.
All right.
Take
Thank you.
care. Thank you.
too.
Thank
Yeah.
Thank
Bye.
you. All right. If there's nothing else, then I would like to move that we adjourn. Second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Perfect.
Hi.
Oops, I can't second anymore. Sorry about that.
Oh, Mike won't tell.
I second.
Okay, all right. Mike, can
Thank
you
you.
join us on the 27th?
Yes, yeah, sorry, I was doing some dishes.
Oh, that's important. Okay,
Yeah, I have to
Right.
multitask.
yeah, well, we all need to do that. Okay, so let's
What
sign
about
off.
Mary?
What's Mary? She was nodding, so I think that's okay. Yeah, she's giving me a thumbs up. We're good. We're good. Okay, folks, thank you for being here tonight. Be safe in all this rain and look forward to getting another summary email from me. Okie doke.
Bye all.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good
Bye.
night.
Okay.
Evelyn, this is Esther. I had a difficult time